Well, Sam,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Phone Wallet Keys. David Ortiz, a
I'm not
Boston
stop.
sports
They know
podcast.
who we are, and I'm not ready for this level of enthusiasm. Let's get to it.
Cross me up! Don't snap, don't breathe, just leave me up your skin. And baby begin!
We have a lot to talk about, and it's mostly our teams losing, and we should just not hype our Instagram page, which we no longer have access to. We should stop talking about Twitter. We should stop talking about our witty fraternal banter, and we should start our doomsday prophecies.
I mean, we haven't spoken in so long. What the fuck are you talking about? We should stop talking about these things. Do we talk about those things? We don't talk anymore. Who are you? I barely recognize you.
You shaved again.
I did, because I've been watching a lot of Godfather, and I've been looking at Pacino's beautiful face for a long time now.
What makes you think that
I
you
had,
shaving your face has anything to do with Al Pacino's beautiful one?
I've got a whole look going on right now. You can't tell, but trust me, the word's out there. If you listen, put your ear to the grindstone. You'll hear it.
If by watching a lot of Godfather you mean you recently took a vacation to Italy, I'm going to be very upset.
Max, you're my older brother, and I love you, but don't ever take sides against the family.
I've been saying that to you for years, and you always take sides against me. So I don't know why you're saying that has been my that's the level I've been of sort of mutual respect I've been asking from you since we were kids, and you've never ever given it to me. I mean, I make it hard maybe, but I feel like you go
You
against me
definitely
all
make
the
it really
time.
hard. Like when?
Like when I advocate for political violence against Dan Shaughnessy, who is celebrating this Patriots tailspin, you whoa, 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 which is pretty much the exact same thing as what fucking the idiot brother does in The Godfather when they try and take over
No,
Vegas.
you're basically I'm Michael Corleone, and you're you go back and forth between being Sonny and what's his
Fredo.
name? Fredo. So right when you advocate violence against Dan Shaughnessy, then you're being more Sonny. You're just a hot-headed lunatic who can't be trusted to make decisions that would benefit the family. But when yeah, the rest of the time you're more just like Fredo. You're just happy to be here, getting into trouble. I'm always trying to bail you out, and eventually I'm gonna kill you. I also watched Godfather 3 and saw the consequences of that kind of move. It haunted him for the rest of his life, so maybe I won't kill you.
That's good. I'm glad that you won't summon up a mad posse of mercenaries to gun down your older brother. That behavior should be reserved for our political and class enemies, not your own brother. Also, that's what it would take, because as an apex predator, as someone who is literally at the peak of all of his games, you would need a literal army, brother.
What do you? He didn't need an army to take out Fredo. It was just one guy on a boat.
Yeah, but it was the whole. I mean, okay, if you want to once again dissolve interactions of all of their structural realities and only focus on the individual, then you can start making excuses for racist grandmothers and the NFL.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. Let's get to it. The Patriots.
They
I'm
suck.
not feeling that bad about it. It's not where I wanted to be. Rooted that now I think our playoff hopes comes down to whether or not the Eagles can beat the Texans next week, and we can
Well, that's
somehow.
what. Okay, I mean, let's break it down for people. If the Patriots win out and the Texans lose one of their last two games, we'll get a first round bye, which will certainly help.
certainly help. I mean, that's it. That's our playoff hopes. If we have a
We've
first round bye, we're in good shape.
Tom Brady has won 5 Super Bowls and never won a Super Bowl when he didn't have a bye.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of sample size. I think we've only not had a bye like 2 or 3 times.
That's an excellent point. And in fact, I think when we assess Tom Brady's career, the amount of first round buys he's had should be one of those records that they talk about, because those are basically playoff wins. They should count as a win.
Right.
His playoff record should get the 10 buys that he's earned.
Yeah, agreed. So, yeah, I think if we get if we take care of business against our stupid divisional rivals, the Fredos of the AFC East, and the Eagles can beat the Texans, or who else are the Texans playing? Because I don't want the Eagles to win.
I don't care about the Eagles winning. They suck.
Yeah, but at this point, like, our season comes down to them beating the Texans next week.
Well, the Eagles apparently have something to play for because they beat the Rams the other night. So,
yeah, they're not eliminated. I think they have like a 30% chance of making the playoffs or something.
Because the NFC East is garbage, I think, is what the conclusion there is.
So, what's been going on? What's your take on like why are we in this situation where we're stuck, like, clutching for desperation straws to hold on to the 2 seed?
Well, I mean, look, we've gone on 5-game winning streaks before, 6-game winning streaks. So if we have to win 4 games in the playoffs because we don't have a bye, that's fine. I think we could do it. I just think it'll be really hard. I think 2015, where we had to go to Denver rather than host them because of a late season tailspin like the one that we're seeing now, informs this a lot, right? Like, we got a bye that year, but we didn't get the number 1 seed. We went to Denver and weren't able to move the ball against their defense on the road. And we lost by 1 point or 2. Yeah, we lost by 2 points. We didn't get a 2-point conversion at the end. But that was one of the greatest throws to Rob Gronkowski. That was like the best football play I've ever seen.
I remember.
You remember that? In the AFC Championship game?
Yeah, I do.
Anyway, like,
and then
I think I don't want to put too strong of a sample on that one. You know, like, I think that was a good example of why you need home field advantage, or why we need home field advantage. But it's just 1 year, and it is possible that we could, say, beat a shitty Baltimore team, then beat
the Chargers, win. Like, the Chargers get the 5 seed, the Chiefs get the 1 seed, we get the 2 seed, right? Then all that needs to happen is the 6 seed, whoever it is, needs to lose. And so then the Chargers would go to Kansas City in the divisional round.
And then come to New England if we're the 2 seed, if they win.
And then if they beat Kansas City, they would. So there's still, if we can grab that 2 seed, there's a very probable path that the playoffs will be in New England.
Yeah, but I want to see, like what do you think that if we're playing 2 road playoff games in the playoffs and 4 total, including the Super Bowl, that there's no chance we could win them all?
No chance. We're toast. We're not good enough. I mean, we have the personnel to make it possible, but there's nothing that I've seen this season that would make me believe that that's. I mean, save for like a 3-game stretch in the middle, there's no way. There's no factual evidence to suggest that that's possible. I mean, am I crazy? What are you talking about? Do you think that Gronkowski is just lulling everyone to sleep, making everyone think that he's washed up, and that he's gonna, like, all of a sudden pull a I'm not left-handed in the playoffs and just come out and be the Gronkowski of old?
Sam, I have breaking news to share with you. We should probably just stop talking about the Patriots. Josh Gordon on Twitter just announced that he is stepping away from the football field to focus on his mental health.
No.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No. It sucks.
Live breaking news. Where do you see that?
On his own Twitter. Are you reading it?
No. Oh my fucking god.
The racists in Boston are going to go so crazy about why you can't rely on they're going to make so many comments. Everyone, I'm FaceTiming with my brother right now, and his whole body language is slumped into his chair. He's devastated. It sucks. Oh my God, this sucks.
Well,
That's that. I no longer think the Patriots can win the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know. Other teams are banged up. It's not as big a loss as Kareem Hunt, but Josh Gordon is a big deal. It sucks.
wait, I'm like really trying to process the things he's saying. And does it mean that he's done for the season? He says, I will be stepping away from the football field for a bit. What does that mean? Like he's taking
I
a
don't
day
know.
off?
Maybe.
Oh my god.
Read the whole thing for people, Sam.
This is
Describe
breaking news. We're recording this live. I mean, it says, I take my mental health very seriously at this point to ensure I remain able to perform at the highest level. I have recently felt like I could have a better grasp on things mentally. With that said, I will be stepping away from the football field for a bit to focus on my mental health. I would like to thank Coach Belichick, Mr. Kraft, as well as countless others within the Patriots organization for their continued support. I want to thank my fans for their support as well as I continue down the path to getting back to 100%.
They're announcing that he's facing another indefinite suspension for violating the terms of his reinstatement under the NFL's substance abuse policy. I think this would be a good time to talk about the fact that he is forced to step away from the NFL facing an indefinite suspension because this is basically like 3 strikes and you're out. The same policy that is ruining so many black men's lives in American jails in 2019, 2018. This is the exact same logic that underscores our punitive ass drug policy, our carceral drug policy, and now Josh Gordon can't play football anymore and is being forced to write weird and vague Twitter messages. You're disgusted?
Yeah.
I'm disgusted too. I can't believe they're forcing him out like this. This is not Josh
Where are
Gordon.
you seeing that?
Josh Gordon doesn't want to be doing this. They're making him.
These are the same fucking bastards that have randomly drug tested Eric Reed 7 times this season. Did you see that?
I know. Eric Reed has been randomly drug tested 7 times because the NFL would like nothing more than to make someone who protests against U.S. imperialism and the racist treatment of black men by cops. Nothing would make them happier than to suspend that person for drug use.
The statistical probability of Eric Reed's drug tests getting randomly drug tested 7 times is 0.0011 or something like that. Explain who Eric Reed is.
Eric Reed was the number 1 person behind Colin Kaepernick to engage in those national anthem protests a few years ago. And he too was blackballed. He's like an all-pro safety, and he was blackballed for a while, but he caught on with the Carolina Panthers halfway through the season started. And since then, he's been randomly drug tested 7 times. It's not even a full season of work. He's gotten randomly drug tested so many times.
So do you think that Josh Gordon failed the drug test? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if he failed a drug test. It just says he's failed the terms of his reinstatement. Maybe he missed a drug test. I don't know. I think one thing that would be interesting for us to study would be the response of to Vinny Baker. Do you remember him?
Vin Baker,
Yeah,
the basketball player.
yeah.
I remember his basketball card. I think he played for the Bucks. What are you talking about?
Well, then he played for the Celtics. He signed a max deal with the Celtics, but he never really played because he was struggling with alcoholism the whole time.
Oh,
And I wonder how
and
much different it's going to be this time around because of how much more racist uh, the it has become. It is how much the because of the growth in the market for racist Boston sports takes. I wonder how different the reaction to Josh Gordon will be from Vinny Baker. It's really sad. I can't
ugh.
believe the Patriots season just ended while we were on the phone like this.
Yeah. So let's try and should we try and find a silver lining? I mean, is there still hope for the Patriots season? Even if we get the bye, it's still.
Yeah, these are one game seasons. Anything's possible when you have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. But and it's not like we're going up against. It's not like I don't know. Like offense really was a problem last week against Pittsburgh. We had that like on the third play of the game, we got a touchdown, and then we didn't get another one for the rest of the game. I thought we moved the ball pretty well, but offense was the problem against Pittsburgh. I can't even say offense hasn't been the problem.
Yeah. Edelman doesn't look that good.
He keeps having drops.
James White has kind of disappeared from the game plan, it seems like, or at least has had his role reduced significantly. I mean, so they're going to plug in Philip Dorsett or I guess Chris Hogan or Philip Dorsett is going to be plugged into that Josh Gordon slot. It's not good. This isn't good. That's not the. Should we talk about the Celtics?
They suck too. I'm pissed off about that. I watched that game last night. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Our fucking rich ass billionaire owner who didn't do anything to earn his money besides inherit it from his dad, like was a guest in the booth in the second quarter, and we went from having like a 15-point lead to being down by 6, and then we just lost. I can't believe we lost to the fucking Suns. Aaron Baines broke his hand.
Yeah, that sucked. Except that now Robert Williams is going to see a lot more time. Robert Williams,
you like it?
Looks really good.
Yeah, but the Celtics do not look good. I mean, Jason Tatum looks really good. Kyrie Irving looks really good. Gordon Hayward looks good in like 5 out of 7 phases of the game, but he still can't explode to the rim, and he still can't like.
People blow by him on when he's on defense too. Like his first step isn't explosive.
He's not explosive.
To keep up with people.
Explosive is like this weird word that like people. It's like a coded word that people use that doesn't mean anything, but it's definitely true that Gordon Hayward lacks explosiveness.
The Celtics. I mean, they look really good while I was gone, and then as soon as I got back, they've just been losing now.
I mean, they didn't play anyone good, but it's just like I don't think we have enough time to figure out. One thing I've noticed, and do you remember like when we won the championship last, how there's all these stories coming out about like Doc Rivers like taking the players to Europe and shit and pledge and like preaching Ubuntu, and Kevin Garnett buying suits for everybody, and like them having like mad scrimmages for like the months and months leading up to the season starting. And so when the season started, they were just like fucking amped and ready and knew how to play with each other, even though there's a lot of new pieces. Like we won
Yeah.
the championship Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen's first year.
Yeah.
And we have it's similar that we have a lot of like star power moving pieces first time playing together basically this year. Like with
Yeah, more or less. Gordon Hayward.
yeah, but also like Tatum, they didn't figure out how to, it seems like, readjust all of the pieces now. And like they didn't get, like no one was healthy enough to like run each other ragged in the off season. So I'm like when Al Horford comes back, are we gonna have to watch them like struggle to figure out how to play together again and run the offense through him?
Well,
I mean, I like Marcus Smart in the. You were right about starting Smart, so that's cool.
yeah, I mean, my thought was I didn't think we should start Smart necessarily. I was thinking we should start Baines and with a bigger lineup. But yeah, or Smart.
Sam, I'm
Jaylen
sorry.
Brown.
I'm really distracted. I'm really pissed off. Like, we should probably just talk about how, since the Patriots don't look like they're going to be able to win anymore, we should talk about how the NFL is morally reprehensible again. Like,
Yeah,
Colin
hit
Kaepernick
me.
still doesn't have a fucking job, and they just gave like two of the previous Buffalo Bill quarterbacks who have been no one who has like performed worse maybe in the history of the league. TJ Yates just got a fucking contract with San Francisco. It's crazy. The NFL is a racist entity that is blackballing black stars. It mirrors all of our carceral injustice policies. It's a billionaires boys club that promotes misogyny. Like, we haven't even talked about the Chiefs season and how like those people I was complaining about definitely struck again, right? Like, didn't I tell you that this was happening in an earlier podcast episode with the Chiefs?
What?
The Kareem Hunt situation?
I don't know that we've talked about it yet, have we?
We have.
Well, for those who missed it, like myself and maybe some others, bring us up
What do
to
you mean?
speed.
I mean, it was just like when we were playing the Chiefs, I mentioned how two of their huge stars, including their running back, had been charged with domestic violence as recently as this summer. And then the video came out for it and they had to release him.
It's just like the Ray Rice thing again. Like they knew about this.
Yes.
There was like they had already, and then TMZ releases the video, and then they're just like, "Oh, I guess we have to do something about this."
Yeah.
The video was of Kareem Hunt, the former running back of the Kansas City Chiefs, beating up a girl,
Kicking her.
kicking her while she was down. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't see the video, but
the
and so
story
what
is gets kind of muddy. Like, apparently the woman was dropping N-bombs and was was being kicked out of the hotel room, though, according to her, because she didn't want to have sex with Kareem Hunt's friend. So like no one looks great in this situation.
But I think we can safely say that the NFL promotes toxic masculinity. And
Yes, I think we can safely say that. And therefore we should question whether or not it's like worth feeling great when like your team that isn't the Patriots wins instead of the Patriots. But I mean, it just looks like that we're gonna have people hate Boston, erroneously hate Boston just as much as they did before this news came out. It's not like we're gonna get sympathy. It just means we're gonna have to organize more for the revolution.
yeah, so
the Patriots winning the Super Bowl isn't something that we can count on to help overthrow the global systems of injustice, or at least the national ones.
I think that's fair. It still could happen, but should we start thinking about a contingency plan?
Yeah. And it doesn't look great for the Celtics either, though they could probably figure it out. They have time. Play through the rust.
How about the Bruins? How are they doing?
They shut out the Canadiens in Montreal 4-0. A lot of their best players, including Patrice Bergeron, is hurt.
Uh-huh.
So that's not good. That makes Krejci have to play in the front line. And that means we have like straight doo-doo from the second, third, and fourth lines. But it was enough to beat the Canadiens in the biggest shutout in the last 30 years or something.
And I think we're like right in the middle of the pack as far as standings goes.
Yeah.
Or we're doing pretty well.
We're in the playoffs. We're not doing as well as some teams.
I think we're like I think we're in the top 5 teams in the East.
Yeah, top 5 is fine, but like we're not as good as Tampa Bay or Buffalo, which pisses me off. And we don't have the star power of some of the other Eastern teams. Like Toronto's really good. And like Washington has Ovechkin, the best player in the world. And then the Penguins are also in the East, and they have fucking that obnoxious Canadian that I don't like thinking about, Sidney Crosby. We should do a whole episode about Canadian hoser villains.
Explain.
Like, if we're ever feeling really bad about ourselves, we can like go through a series of interviews given by like Canadian hockey players that I don't like, and we'll feel better about ourselves because we can articulate simple ideas to one another and make ourselves understood.
The hockey players,
it's just like a miasma of random words and a boots. It's like they can't. Their English sounds provincial and offensive. And poorly wielded.
I went to the batting cages yesterday.
You swung the bat around? Can I tell you about some sporting events that I've engaged in since you've been gone?
Yeah, please.
I went to like a backwater hillbilly Georgia volunteer professional wrestling event.
Sorry, can you say that sentence again?
Well, the backwater hillbilly part is self-explanatory. It's like rural ass Georgia. The volunteer professional
wrestling. It's redundant. You said Georgia, yeah.
It was pro wrestling, but it was the people who were engaged in the wrestling matches were not being paid, so they were in fact volunteers. So there had to be some way to explain the fact that this was sort of like amateur hour.
Amateur pro wrestling, like it wasn't people wrestling each other. It was people like doing scripted fake fighting dance moves and stuff.
Yeah, it was like WWE, only no money. Yeah, they had like their own plot lines and stuff. Like one thing I was just like fundamentally unprepared for was that all of these like grown ass Georgian people were in the audience screaming with real fiery indignation at the obviously and like nakedly scripted events they were still getting really mad about. Jagged Edge went from being a face, a good guy, to a heel. And someone like started screaming, "Don't do it, Jagged! Don't do it!" It was like, and this person was like way older than me, and she was like very angry. Everyone was very angry. I will say that there was like some black wrestlers, and I was uncomfortable with the ease with which like the black wrestlers were the good guys in this show. They were all faces, and the heels were all white guys, but the white guys won the matches, and people were so the ways in which they would boo and like the ease with which they would say mean things to the ostensible good guys in the crowd made me uncomfortable, but it was still really fun. If we had access to our Instagram, I would put up some funny photos of the wrestling event, but it was an interesting sporting event. I also went to the SEC.
Well, okay, go ahead. I'm not quite ready for you to move on from there yet. So I can't for the life of me like posit why you would have done that.
because it was
gone to that
happening in the
event.
same way that like you were just in Italy, right?
Yes.
Or like imagine if you were instead in Paris
What?
and like the
Okay.
Eiffel Tower was there. Like yeah, you would go check out the Eiffel Tower.
I went to the Sistine Chapel because I wanted to be able to answer Robin Williams that I can tell you what it smells like there,
At the Sistine
what
Chapel.
it feels like.
Are you making a Goodwill
Yeah.
Hunting reference?
Yeah.
Maybe we
Sorry,
should
I
just
watched that yesterday too.
maybe we should just do a podcast where we play our favorite lines from Boston movies instead of talking to each other. It's not
Just
your
like
fault.
edit. Wait, you want to like do a mixtape of
Yeah.
one-liners from Boston movies?
But
Okay,
you would be paying
what
$15 in late charges at your local library.
So I have some more questions to you because in our household, when we were growing up, there was only two television shows that we were not allowed to watch, banned from watching. So of course there were our two favorite shows. We watched them religiously, and the first was Married with Children, and the second was WWF.
Yeah, yeah,
So
totally. No, I
I'm
mean,
looking to get
I,
more. Oh, go
I was
ahead.
just going to say to all you dads and moms out there listening, the TV shows that you rightfully and righteously ban your children from watching because they are so bad and will instill such bad values in them will ironically become staples of your children's personalities because they will go behind your back and watch them. And I'm sure, as everyone's been who's been listening has noticed, Sam is just like Al Bundy, Bud Bundy, Peggy Bundy,
That's
and
insane.
Kelly Bundy, and I am just like The Rock. And it was only because once it became transgressive to watch them, we couldn't miss an episode. Anyway, no, this wrestling thing was like, it was like it was fun and funny to see. And it was such a stripped down version of the real thing. But it was like, it was a pure, it was like love. There was so much love in the building. People love wrestling so much and they love doing it and they love going and screaming at people. It was a little fucked up at times, but it was a thing about love.
It's just like modern day, like vaudevillian. Like what is that people love it so much? What's the appeal?
It's like a soap opera with good guys and bad guys, and sometimes the good guys win, and sometimes the bad guys win, and it's fun to see which one it'll be, I guess.
Hmm. Okay, what's the other sporting event that you recently attended?
I went to the SEC championship game between Alabama and Georgia. It was a football game.
Wow, you did that?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was really crazy. There is like in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like there's like 77,000 people there, most of whom were rooting for the Bulldogs, who lost in spectacular fashion. They were winning the whole game, and then they choked it away at the end. And I don't really have like a horse in the race, so to speak. I don't give a shit about either one of those schools. But I did. It was very interesting to watch this colossal, terrible loss happening at home. There's like 70,000 people barking and like screaming and being so happy for 55 minutes, and then sort of being like, oh no, oh God, is this happening again? And then it happened to them again. And the feeling of being present for a home team's crushing, devastating loss where you don't actually care is really interesting. It's imagine like going to like a.
Well, remember when we were in New Orleans and we watched, and we weren't at the game, but we were at the bar watching the Saints. What was it? Saints Vikings game.
That was a devastating
with the
loss.
last second. That was crazy to be in a place that was so brimming with jubilation one moment, and then the next, just like the air had been sucked out with an all-time gut punch.
Yeah, I was in the
and we were
building
just
for it, I guess,
spectators.
is the difference. But yeah, it's the exact
Yeah,
same scenario.
you know.
So sports are weird. It's like not too many other things. It occurred to me watching that, like, I was surrounded by like all these white males at this game, and they were experiencing the full range of human emotions in front of my eyes. And also they were barking because the Georgia team name is the Bulldogs. And like, I was just
Oh
like,
God.
there's a lot of
Oh
fucking
God.
actual barking happening all around me.
Oh my God.
But they're
Wait,
also experiencing the full range of human emotions. And it occurred to me watching the game that there is probably zero other times in which these men experience the full range of human emotions
I'm
publicly
just
and
gonna stop
together.
you right there because you've now said the full range of emotions 3 times, referring to these men at the sports event, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say that
That's
there
not the
are
full
more
range.
emotions. That's not actually the full range. There's some other
They were
emotions out
joyful.
there that
They were sad. They were barking, which makes me think they were aroused. They like, it was a lot of emotions. They were like, the way they would express sadness to one another. Like, I can't believe they're doing this to us again. Like, why do we even do this? Should we just leave now? No, let's stay. Come on. Like strangers talking to each other about their feelings. It doesn't happen that much.
All right, well, I want to share an anecdote about my time in Rome.
So you were in
So
Rome.
I was in Rome with my
I
girlfriend, and we were kind of.
What's funny about your trip to Rome is I was talking to mom and dad about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's really a shame what's happening. It's poor Sam." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "You haven't heard about the trash fire?" And like, I was like thinking that they were being metaphorical because like at this point, when people say trash fire, they usually mean a figurative trash fire, like the president or like the NFL's drug policy. But there is an actual, honest to God, trash fire going on in Rome while you were there, and making, according to mom and dad, making the entire town stinky. But when I called you, you didn't even notice. All you wanted to talk about was seeming neo-Nazis.
Yeah, are you gonna tell my anecdote for me, or should I?
I was just trying to set it up for you, but once again, you walked all over it. So why don't you just take the mic?
All right. After dinner, we're just kind of wandering around aimlessly, me and my girlfriend, and we get to the entrance of a nice big old city square in Rome, and I see a guy backing out of the bar with a backing out of a bar with a bar stool in his hand, kind of swinging it back and forth to keep these other 2 guys away
At
from him.
bay. Yeah,
Who
sure.
at bay? The 2 guys just have like some couple glass bottles in their hand, and they kind of like they exit, and I like see this from about 200 yards away, and I kind of like hold up my girlfriend. I'm like, hold on 1 second, sweetheart, and then those 2 guys will go chasing after the guy at the bar stool, are then followed by another like 5 or 6 guys chasing them, and then about 15 other guys are chasing them, and pretty soon there's like beer bottles are flying through the square, and there's like it's just like all hell breaks loose, and she's really scared. She's like, oh, you got to get out of here, and I'm like, no, well, let's just see, like, I want to just check this out for a second, and she's like, no, I want to leave. And so I'm like, okay, that's totally reasonable.
Yeah, that is totally
and,
reasonable.
and so we walk away, and we kind of go in the opposite direction. But within 5 minutes, I see militarized police, like police and riot squad, and a lot of them. My first thought was like, yeah, I guess that was a riot, not a brawl. Like there was like close to 50 people involved, and lots of like throwing beer bottles. But it's weird. Like, is there like a political
trash fire?
Like it didn't seem like, yeah, I was just kind of confused at why they were already there, like kind of waiting for it. They seemed to know that it was going to happen, but it looked like just like a epic bar fight. Anyway, we're kind of just like, we go in the opposite direction. We just wandering around for a while, but towards like a few hours later, we find ourselves back in that same square again. We're just wandering around aimlessly in a city we'd never been to before. So And I still see all these guys with beer bottles in their pockets and glass everywhere and like scary looking men. I'm like, but also the riot squad is there too, still like hours later. And so I go and I ask a restaurant clerk standing outside the restaurant, like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, Germany and Italy are playing each other in the Champions League. There's like a soccer match.
Bayern Munich was taking on Roma.
Yeah, sure. And like I saw a group of like 50 German soccer fans all chanting in unison. And
were they chanting in German?
Yeah, singing like.
Were they skinheads or no?
Just like they were all fucking giant and scary and like.
Did they have
to look
hair?
At. They were like wearing hats because it was cold out. I don't know.
I bet you they were skinheads. Yeah. No, it sounds really scary. There's like literally nothing scarier to me based on my Jewish upbringing than a bunch of angry Germans in a group screaming.
Yeah, in unison too. Like,
in unison, it's horrible.
I'm wondering though, like, so in America, that doesn't really. I remember one time, like in the '90s, early 2000s, the closest thing that could ever in America, the closest anecdote would be the Red Sox Yankees rivalry. And I do remember being at Fenway. I actually remember
being at Fenway, and there was a huge brawl, and it was back in the days of the Cleveland Indians being really good. These Cleveland Indian fans in the not in the bleachers, but behind the right field foul pole under the deck, way up there in the blue seats in the grandstands, they unveiled a huge banner that said "Let's Go Tribe," and then through every like drunkards from the bleachers and throughout the entire stadium started descending on the back, and there is a huge fight in the back of over this banner, and like I think the police had to even use pepper spray to break it up. I think this was back in the late 90s, but yeah, there was also a lot of going to the individual fights in the Yankees Red Sox.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the fans. Like,
yeah.
And I remember one time I went to the bathroom at a Red Sox Yankees game in Fenway Park, and while I was in the bathroom, like a Red Sox fan walked in, followed by two Yankee fans who had followed him to the bathroom, and they started fighting. And then those two Yankee fans had been followed by 5 more Red Sox fans, and like a full-on brawl broke out while I was in the bathroom.
And did you jump in?
Yeah, I was like 12. I think I was.
You got kicked
kind of. Yeah, probably ran up on some dudes.
Hell yeah, Michael Corleone, running up on dudes in the bleachers.
But what I wanted to say is, it doesn't really happen in America anymore
because we have guns. The reason the reason you're able to have 50 huge dudes with like German dudes with broken bottles in their hands screaming in German on the streets and have it not end in like a massacre is because Europe has like strict gun control laws, and Americans don't trust that like they can crew up like that and have it not end in gun violence is my theory. Like
That's an interesting theory.
I mean, soccer hooligans are vicious and need to be put down probably, but like they have knives, they don't have like as soon as those people start having guns, right? It's like it's a cartel, and European cities will become failed states.
Right. I was kind of wondering if there was something inherent about soccer, like the rules of that game, that lend itself to more violent fans. But because it's not just a European phenomenon, right? In South America, shit's pretty crazy too.
I don't know how often. I think South America is far more civilized than Western Europe.
In general, or the soccer fans?
In general, but also like South America didn't really colonize other countries. So the history of European colonialization, of sending your like militias and armies into other people's lands and like taking shit over, is also probably part of this. Like, like Germany did this throughout Europe and Africa, right? They just like sent angry dudes to like chant on the street corners of other people's land and cause huge problems. Like, that's pretty much the history of Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
England and their soccer hooligans, it's not unlike colonialism, right? They like they send their drunkards to another country when their team is playing, and they like fuck shit up, just like Australia, Africa, India, Palestine, the New World. It's perfectly.
But they also
consistent.
just like will go. Won't they? They'll just fight each other. They'll just like there's brawls within the UK too.
Yeah, they're trying to colonize each other. The different cities are trying to colonize. Fan bases are always. It's weird. I agree. But I'm not. Are you saying that we should start disciplining Yankee fans with some old-fashioned beer bottle brawling? Like, because like now you're talking my fucking language. Let's go approach some Yankee fans. Let's get a fucking huge. Let's get the Joya brothers. Let's get everyone we know, and we'll just like start seeing if we can recreate soccer hooliganism in Yankee Stadium. Let's see what happens.
All right, you're back to Sonny Corleone now.
Sonny takes the fall. Brother, I love you very much. This is a good podcast.
Yes, I love you very much, Max. I hope it was a good podcast.
I'm so glad you're back in town. You think we can record together next week?
Yeah, absolutely. What day are you going to be here?
I don't know, right around Christmas.
Okay, so yes, I definitely think we can record together.
Maybe we can.
Let's do that.
Okay, all right, listeners. If you got this far in the podcast, Sam and I will be together for our next episode, which means we will have the capability to call you on the phone and have you as a guest.
Oh wow!
Together. So if you would like to reach out and be on our podcast, I can think of. Like, let's just say I sued you on Judge Mathis and you have sports opinions. Like, Sam and I would love to talk to you on this podcast. Or let's just say that you had to be Sam Geller's roommate for years and you are a writer about basketball and follow the Celtics. Like, we would love to talk to you. Let's say you were my roommate for years and I was a total piece of shit to live with. We would love to have stories about that too. So if you're listening and you know how to get in touch with us, maybe
we don't even know you. Maybe there's a couple of listeners to this podcast that we never met, and you want to call yourself up and introduce yourselves.
Yeah, you should. I would love to do that. In that case, tweet at us, and we will certainly talk to you.
Yeah, agreed. So tweet at us, and we'll put you on the list, and we'll let you know what time we're going to record, and we'll have some guests. We'll do a little call-in show. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'd be so great to have a call-in show. And maybe if no one calls in, I'll just call in, and then we can respond to my fetishized working-class Boston accent.
Is that Max from Boston's on the line?
Oh, sure.
Well, let's take one last call before we leave.
I got a couple points I'd like to make. Josh Gordon
All right, Max, let's hear
it. Once again let us know that the only people we can trust are the white receivers like Ricky Prohl and Danny Amendola and not that Jew Edelman, but no, I don't want Sam, you have to cut all this out.
I will not. Thanks everyone for sticking with us. Yeah, so both Max and I had our phones break last week, and so we can't get into our Instagram account, so that's over. But follow us on Twitter.
We still have the Twitter, guys. So if you follow us on Twitter, forget about Instagram for now. It's over.
Thanks so much to the Joya brothers and the Brown Lavoie sisters for taking the reins while we were away.
I was not away. While you were away, having a great time in Italy with your girlfriend without me.
Yeah, we'll get this. We'll do a call-in show next week around Christmas time, and I think that'll be good because on Sunday I need some time to process the Josh Gordon thing, see if reevaluate whether or not the Patriots season is possible. cause or not. But I love you, Max.
I love you too, Sam.
With us.
All right. I'll call you soon. Bye.